from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening, this is the National News Telecast. I'm Uvin Hettiarachchi.
And I'm Natalia Virvardhana. First, let's take a look at the headlines for tonight.
The low-pressure zone near Sri Lanka is expected to weaken and move away from the island within the next 36 hours. 16 state-of-the-art cardiac catheterization machines have been provided for the country's hospital system. Former director of the National Education Institute has been sentenced for 6 years of rigorous imprisonment for disregarding court orders. Compensation for CEB employees who opted for voluntary retirement will be paid tomorrow. Talks with Chinese president were extremely successful, President Trump says. Now to those and more stories in detail on today's top story. The Department of Meteorology announced that it is expected the low pressure zone situation prevailing in the north or east of Sri Lanka would weaken in the next 36 hours. This is due to it moving away from the island.
The highest rainfall in the past 24 hours was reported from the Puttlam district. The Disaster Management Centre says 1,264 persons from 474 families in the Puttlam district have been temporarily detained at 6 safety centres.
The weather report predicts fairly heavy rainfall around 150 mm may prevail in western Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces, as well as in the districts of Galle and Matara. In other areas of the island, heavy rainfall of around 100 mm could be expected. Additional Director General of the Department of Meteorology, Ajith Wijayamana, said that the temporary strong winds could occur during thunderstorms and advised the public to remain vigilant. He noted that the rainfall is expected to decrease after tomorrow, as the impact of low pressure area is likely to subdue significantly by tomorrow evening. Furthermore, he mentioned that they anticipate a slight reduction in rainfall today compared to yesterday. The Alutgama-Matugama road at the Valipanna interchange of the Southern Expressway was temporarily closed for light vehicles as a result of the inundation of the road yesterday. The road was reopened for traffic this morning, and our correspondent says that vehicle transport is taking place as usual. The Horana area is reported to be receiving heavy rainfall. As a result, a single sluice gate of the Kukule Ganga reservoir has been opened, releasing 88 cubic meters of water in a second to the Kuda Ganga. It has also been reported that due to increase of the water level in the river, several positions of the main road of Bulat Sinhala Molkawa has come underwater, resulting in the obstruction of vehicle transport. The water gauge of Millakanda in Kaluganga has recorded a figure of 6.3 meters by 7 o'clock this morning. 4 sluice gates of the Rajangane reservoir has also been reopened, releasing a water capacity of 2,613 cubic feet in a second to the Kalaoya. 2 sluice gates of the Angamu reservoir has also been kept open. The gates also release a volume of 643 cubic millimeters of water in a second to the Kalaoya. In the Alikot R reservoir in Vallavaya, 2 sluice gates have been lifted by 2 feet each and another sluice gate by 1 feet. The water directly released to the Kirindi Oya, increasing the water level to the waterway as well. Monragal District Disaster Management Unit informs the people living in low-lying areas to remain vigilant of any impending situation. A director of the Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kodipili, said that spill gates in 18 reservoirs had been opened and urged the public to exercise extreme caution when using reservoir water. He said that several deaths due to drowning and already have been reported and stressed the importance of remaining vigilant and paying attention to official warnings and messages. He further noted that prevailing adverse weather conditions were gradually subsiding, although some areas have recorded heavy rainfall exceeding 100 mm. He added that District Disaster Management Unit, relevant officials and emergency equipment have been kept on standby to respond promptly to any situation, while the 117 hotline remain open for public assistance. Variapola Regional Irrigation Engineers Office informs that the sluice gates of the Dedaruwa reservoir were closed down around 7 o'clock this morning. Heavy rains have inundated road and low-lying areas in Vavuniya district. Our correspondent says this has resulted in many cultivational lands coming underwater. The inclement rainy weather condition is causing strenuous difficulties to the residents in the area. Rainfall has increased water levels in the Ellavala waterfall. Regional Director of Education RMT M. Prasad says that many schools in the Puttalam educational zone were forced to be closed down due to floods. Most of the affected schools are located in Kalpitiya, Anamaduwa, Navagattegama, Pallama, Mahakumbukandawala in the northern and southern educational zones of Puttalam. Many byroads in between villages have also been inundated. The bridge constructed over in Talagala Oya in Nuwara Eliya has sunk. Meanwhile, the National Building Research Organizations has further extended earth slip warning in many areas. Accordingly, under the second stage warning, 8 divisional secretariat divisions in 3 districts were affected. 47 divisional secretariat divisions in 11 districts have come under earth slip warnings of stage 1. The Kothmale police station says B431 main road of Kothmale Gampola has remained temporarily closed since the afternoon. The reason being the re-emergence of a threat of sinking of the Paranagama road, which has been subjected to an earth slip on a previous occasion. This was stated by OIC of the Kothmale police Indika Lalit. Train station on the Chila-Puttalam line, which has been restricted due to sudden flood situation, has resumed. Accordingly, deployment of trains on the track is being carried out according to a scheduled timetable. As a result of the inundation of the Puttalam railway track in several locations, including Tiladiya, train travel on the track had been curtailed up to Chilaw. 2 sluice gates of the Dedaruwa reservoir have been lifted by 1 feet each to facilitate the release of water amidst the torrential rainfall lashing in the area. The regional irrigation engineer says that accordingly, a water capacity of 1,400 cubic feet is being released in a second.
In other news, President Kumar Dissanayake has presided over a special coordinating committee meeting to look into the progress in the measures taken to develop infrastructural facilities as well as on steps taken to restore public life in Badulla district affected by the cyclone Ditwa. A meeting was taken place at the Badulla District Secretariat. It has been pointed out that 90,667 people belonging to 26,517 families in Badulla District were affected by the disaster. 507 rural houses in 77 plantation housing divisions were fully damaged. The authorities have also identified 1,474 rural houses and 1,376 houses in the plantation sector facing heavy danger. They add that 3,434 families have to be resettled in Badulla district. The President has instructed to grant a maximum period up to the 15th of June this year to make the decision regarding resettlement of persons in other lands. President Kumar Dissanayake underscored that the resettlement of displaced persons is a priority and that transcends mere administrative statistics. He stated that officials might expedite the identification of eligible families. He noted that delays in government process also leave vulnerable citizens in state of limbo. He addressed that clear timelines has to be established for completion of ongoing housing projects, and the President mentioned that funds allocated for housing must be utilized transparently. The President further emphasized that half-finished projects are a waste of state resources and insisted that projects should only be initiated if they can be completed within a reasonable time frame to provide immediate relief for the homeless. A significant portion of the discussion centered on friction between forest conservation laws and livelihood of rural communities. The President observed that there are often discrepancies between the maps used by Forest Department and the actual land occupied by villagers for generation. He suggested a balanced approach needed to be protecting the environment while ensuring people are not unfairly evicted from their ancestral lands. Regarding human-elephant conflict, he emphasized that ad hoc situations like temporary fences are insufficient. He called for more scientific and integrated land use plans that respect lifeline corridors while securing safety for human settlements and courts. He also said that officials of the public expect results, not to excuses based on complex regulations. He has stated that if the regulations hinder genuine humanitarian aid, the regulations should be reviewed rather than persons denied help. He highlighted the lack of communication between departments is the primary cause for project delays and mandated that collaborative single video approach to resolve the cross-sectional disputes. The President stated that primary objective of his administration is to ensure that dividends of development reach the most marginalized sectors of society. He noted that while he respects the professional expertise of officials, he expects them to act in a human heart, and concluded by asserting that he would personally monitor the progress of the decisions made during the session to ensure that they are implemented in a ground rather than remaining mere entries in meeting minutes.
And we have a news just in regarding weather. Director of the Zone Educational Office Hatton says that due to the adverse weather situation in the central province, all schools in the Hatton Education Zone will be closed tomorrow. The director further informs that students and teachers should refrain from attending schools other than for other needs. Moving into other local stories, 16 cardiac catheterizing machines of latest technology are to be introduced to the local health system according to the instructions of Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. The island-wide project marks a milestone in the heart disease treatment program in Sri Lanka. 3 heart catheterizing machines will be installed in the national hospitals in Colombo, Kandy and Galle. In addition, the Ministry of Health and Mass Media has taken measures to provide such machines to the district hospitals in Batticaloa, Ratnapura, Badulla, Galle, Jaffna as well as to the teaching hospitals of Kalubowila, Anuradhapura and Kurunegala. The ministry is also planning to provide such machines to the Trincomalee District Hospital. The project is to be funded by the Asian Development Bank and JICA aid amounting to 3,103 million rupees. The newly constructed 4-storied ward complex of the Ayurveda Base Hospital in Veediyagoda, Bandarakama was declared open by Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa today. The ward complex consists of 2 male and female wards as well as a ward where patients could receive treatments by paying fees. The hospital is also comprised of an OPD and child treatment unit, a pharmacy, a meeting hall and an official residence. A sum of 50 million rupees has been spent on the project. Governor of the Western Province, Hanif Yusuf, has unveiled the commemoration plaque of the ward complex.
A group of students of the Inter-University Students' Federation had forcefully entered a 16-acre plot of land with house in Malwan area today. This property had become popular in recent times as a land without an owner. The students took over the premises and said that this property should be made use for common benefit of the general public. Accusations had been launched regarding former Minister Basil Rajapaksa owning the property in Mapitikama Malwana Dompe. As the property was declared without an owner, it was declared as a state asset according to High Court order. During the People's Uprising in May of 2022, the house was set on fire by a group. Thereafter, the government has decided to replace the property for productive development purposes. Under such circumstances, the Inter-University Students' Federation has conducted a protest campaign stating that the space provided for higher education institutions were not adequate. The Inter-University Students' Federation has charged that they have not received any proper response to the solution from the relevant sections. It has been reported that thereafter the students entered the Malwan property and took it into their possession.
Meanwhile, the death inquest into the suspicious passing away of Kapila Chandrasena, the former Chief Executive Officer of Sri Lankan Airlines, was conducted for the 2nd consecutive day today at the Colombo Magistrates Court. Second witness Wanatunga Mudyanselage Somadasa testified during the proceedings. He stated that although the CCTV system at the residence of Aravinda De Silva, where the deceased was staying, was functional, the footage had not been recorded. However, it was further noted that live footage could be viewed via the house owner's mobile phone. The Colombo Crime Division informed Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena that the DVR machine of the surveillance system has been taken into police custody. Following a prior magisterial observation of the room where the deceased was found, the court requested the government analyst to examine several items, including 2 types of unnamed medicines wrapped in paper and other medications recovered from the scene. The magistrate ordered the government analyst to test these substances and submit a formal report to the court. Additionally, police confirmed that the deceased's own residence was searched, resulting in the seizure of a laptop and several files. A DVD containing photographs and video footage of the premises will also be presented to the court. As the recording of further evidence commenced, Attorney Upali Priyantha Amarasinghe was called to testify. Subsequently, Dr. Ramya Patiranage Lakshani Ashoda Lianage of Durden's Hospital took the stand. She observed that based on her medical examination, the death appeared to have occurred approximately 2 hours prior to her arrival. The next witness was Subramaniam Pramila, who had served as a domestic maid at Chandrasena's residence for nearly 2.5 years. Further hearing of evidence has been postponed until 19th of May. In a separate legal development, the Colombo High Court Judge Justice Udesh Ranatunga today rejected a preliminary objection raised by the defence regarding a charge against Yoshitha Rajapaksa, son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. High Court Judge Udesh Ranatunga, delivering the verdict, stated that the defence's objection claiming the charge of conspiracy could not be maintained was groundless. The judge ruled that there is no legal impediment to proceed with the charge. Consequently, the indictment was read out to the defendant Yoshitha Rajapaksa in open court. Osman Gunasekara alias Gampaha Osman was taken into custody today by the Colombo District Crime Division under the allegation of aiding and abetting the assassination of Ganemulli Sanjeeva, considered an organised criminal. He is being interrogated under a 72-hour detention order. He has been alleged of planning conspiracy and providing the firearm for the assassination of Ganemulli Sanjeeva with organised criminals abroad.
Socialist Youth Union Youth Summit will commence on the 16th of the month, titled Youth Force to Develop the Country, with the objective of creating a generation of youth to build the country. A media briefing to raise awareness in this regard was held today. Deputy Minister Ranga Gunasekara, the national organizer of the Socialist Youth Union, stated that they need the younger generation to build the country since a new political culture has emerged. He mentioned that they are preparing for this, especially starting from the 16th, by bringing together all the brown brothers and sisters of the country for an event titled the Youth Summit under the theme Youth Power to Build the Country. He further explained that the aim is to introduce many young male and female leaders to the local, district and national levels through Socialist Youth Union and Youth Summit. Malchi Amasha, National Committee Organizer of the SYU, announced that the Youth Summit will begin on the 17th on Hambantota and Gampaha districts. She said that the platform to open for everyone and invited all to join the Youth Summit.
Sri Lanka strengthens smart and sustainable shrimp aquaculture with FAO and Republic of Korea support by taking a major step forward in modernizing its aquaculture sector. This step has been taken through the successful completion of the project Smart and Sustainable Aquaculture through effective biosecurity and digital technology. It is being implemented by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in collaboration with the Ministry of Fisheries, Aquatic and Ocean Resources with financial support from the Government of the Republic of Korea. The 4-year initiative has strengthened biosecurity systems, introduced digital innovations, improved food safety and enhanced technical capacity across Sri Lanka's shrimp value chain. A key achievement of the project is the development of Sri Lanka's national strategy on aquatic animal health, providing a comprehensive framework to improve disease prevention and management in aquaculture. The strategy is supported by a national aquatic pathogen list, disease profiles for major shrimp diseases, and a nationwide survey covering 699 shrimp farms. The project also introduced the National Shrimp Industry Information System, a digital platform that integrates farm-level and national data to support real-time monitoring and decision-making. The project also assessed Sri Lanka's shrimp food safety systems and developed a strategic improvement plan to strengthen regulatory frameworks, laboratory capacity and compliance with international standards, supporting improved market access and consumer confidence. We move into a short break and we'll bring you more news right after this.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Now for more local stories, Prime Minister Dr. Harinama Surya states that a mature religious partnership is essential to further strengthen the cooperation and reconciliation among nationals at the cultural area like Anamadu, where Sinhala, Tamil and Muslim communities are living in cooperation.
She mentioned this during a ceremony held yesterday at the Sudampa in Anamadu for the presentation of the Sannas Patra. The ceremony was organized to confer the post of Chief Sanganayaka of the Rajavani and Kumaravani provinces upon the Venerable Annamaduwe Dharmakirti Sri Panyananda Thero. It was held under the patronage of the Anunayaka of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Nyangoda Vijitasiri Thero. Financial compensation amounting to 8.5 billion rupees will be presented tomorrow to employees of the Ceylon Electricity Board who retire from their services voluntarily. The Ceylon Electricity Workers Union has commenced the move, which fulfills a pledge to the present government to hand over the compensation in appreciation of their decision to retire voluntarily. Treasurer of the Ceylon Electricity Workers Union, Dilan Chinthakattu Koral, stated that the current government has withdrawn the bill introduced by Ranil Rajapaksa, which proposed dividing the electricity board into 12 parts. Instead, the board has been restructured into 4 state companies aligned with the policy statement aimed at building a prosperous nation. He announced that they are prepared to symbolically grant compensation to 1896 retired employees tomorrow. Despite rumours and false information spread by various media outlets claiming the payments would not be made, he reassured the public that they would not break the trust placed in them. Voluntarily retired employee K. Manoj Priyanga mentioned that during the recent period when the compensation was slightly delayed, various individuals began spreading false rumours that it would not be received. This led to some unrest among the workers. However, he expressed his gratitude to the current government, the cabinet and especially the minister for fulfilling the promise by resolving the issues and completing the compensation payments 2 days ahead of the scheduled date.
A program to introduce climate change concerning democracy and governance to local government institutions was conducted for the councillors of local government institutions in Mulvathu district recently for 2 days. The program was conducted on the leadership of Governor of the Northern Province, Naligam. In Jaffna, these views were expressed in the host of intellectuals regarding global trends of climate change and the performance of local government institutions in Sri Lanka. In this area, the Institution of Democracy and Governance for Organizing Community Education Programs organized programs jointly with Conrad and Uwe Foundation in Germany to safeguard the Northern Provincial Council, Democracy and Governance. The program was conducted with the participation of local government institutions of Mulvathu district in Northern Province as a pilot project. It has been introduced to jointly implement a pilot program to explore the possibility of establishing a committee on climate change in the local government institutions. Local Government Commissioner of the Northern Province and Deputy Chief Secretary of the Northern Province participated on the occasion.
The University of Colombo, in collaboration with international and local partners, will be hosting a landmark national symposium focused on leveraging artificial intelligence for disaster management titled GeoAI for a Safer, Resilient Future. The event marks a significant milestone in Sri Lanka's technological approach to disaster risk reduction.
Scheduled to take place at the Professor Lakshman Disanayak Auditorium, the symposium will feature high-level representation including Deputy Minister of Digital Economy Erangavir Ratna and US Charge AD Affairs Jane Howell. Supported by the US Embassy through the Alumni Engagement Innovation Fund, the initiative highlights the successful completion of the GeoAI Fellowship Program. It has equipped 150 professionals and students with advanced technical skills. Attendees will witness academic discussions and an exhibition of innovative solutions developed by the fellows to address real-world disaster challenges. This collaborative effort involving the Ministry of Digital Economy and the Disaster Management Center aims to integrate cutting-edge geospatial technology into the nation's resilience framework.
And students and professionals from all over Sri Lanka have benefited from the public-private partnerships, like the use of American ArcGIS software distributed locally through GIS Solutions. Together, these institutions and the talented individuals gathered here today have shared knowledge, fostered cross-disciplinary collaboration, and developed locally relevant solutions that strengthen disaster management in Sri Lanka. Showcasing over 60 projects already developed using American GIS and GeoAI, the exhibition highlights themes such as flood and coastal resilience, environmental management, and safer infrastructure planning. while demonstrating how spatial technologies can strengthen early warning systems, enhance situational awareness, optimize resource allocation, and support smarter, data-driven solutions to protect communities and livelihoods. This initiative also demonstrates the power of international partnership. The U.S. Embassy and the Alumni Engagement Innovation Fund have supported Sri Lanka's efforts to modernize disaster management, while American innovation leaders, such as ESRI, have provided access to world-class geospatial techniques.
As you know, Sri Lanka is in a crucial crossroads. On one side, the country is coming up and recovering from economic meltdown. On the other side, we are working towards leapfrogging the development in the country. In that journey, the digitalization is crucial. We cannot solely rely on traditional sectors. We have to adapt technology, we have to adapt tools. At the same time, we have to develop the right capacity in the country, both in the public sector as well as the private sector. To do all this, we need the right policymakers, and this government is putting much emphasis on bringing digitalization to the country. And we have established the Digital Economy Ministry purposefully to get all this technology coming to the country, especially on the digitalization. And His Excellency the President is heading that ministry because this government put much emphasis on digitalization. And in that digitalization, we are targeting to reach 12% of GDP out of digital economy. From the current, 3 to 4% of the economy is currently delivered through digital economy.
The Colombo Stock Exchange ended today's trading negatively. The all-share price index closed at 22,899.53 after falling by 20.79 points, which represents a 0.09% change. The S&P SL 20 index closed at 6,267.26, down by 2.15 points and 0.03%. Total market capitalization at the close of trading stood at 8.274 trillion rupees. Market turnover for the day amounted to 2.617 billion rupees, with 180.87 million shares traded. And welcome back. We are with foreign news. US President Donald Trump says that the discussions held with Chinese President Xi Jinping after arriving in the Chinese capital Beijing, marking a new chapter in China-United States diplomatic relations, were highly successful.
These discussions were held today for nearly 2 hours at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. This is the first time since 2017 an American president is undertaking a state visit to China.
President Donald Trump, who arrived in the capital Beijing, was received in a very warm manner, and the meeting between the leaders of the two countries took place at a time when the attention of the entire world is focused on China. This visit has become especially significant because it believed that discussions will be held regarding the Middle East war and the tariff increase implemented by the United States. Analysts point out that the discussions between the two world powers will have a notable impact on the entire world. Chinese President Xi Jinping says that the two countries should act not as rivals but as partners. The Chinese president made these remarks in an official statement ahead of the high-level discussions scheduled to be held in Beijing. He emphasizes that strengthening mutual understanding between the two countries is an essential matter for the world peace and economic stability. President Trump is on China visit accompanied by several leading businessmen and political leaders of the country. Although this visit has originally been scheduled to take place in April, it was postponed as a result made by the United States in the face of the Middle East war. Leading figures from the American technology sector, including Tesla chief executive Executive Elon Musk and Nvidia Chief Executive Jensen Huang are also participating in the visit. Before arriving in Beijing, President Trump stated that he is requesting China to further open its market to American industries. It is reported that extensive discussions are being regarding rare mineral exports, agricultural products and energy deals. In addition, Chinese authorities say that the leaders of the two countries are also attempting to reach a common understanding on international political matters, including Iran crisis. President Xi Jinping points out that as world powers, working together cooperatively rather than remaining in confrontational situations is essential for the future progress of the world. The Chinese government says that these discussions will further strengthen the economic relations between the two countries and thereby provide solutions to a number of global challenges. Chinese authorities state that they expect these discussions with the American president to help resolve the trade and political issues existing between the two countries. Foreign media reports indicate that the discussions held today at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing will be highly decisive against the backdrop of Iran selling most of its crude oil to China. During these discussions between the leaders of the two countries, which created new hope regarding political stability through the high-level diplomatic meeting, extensive attention was also focused on trade agreements, regional security and international political crises. The American side says that it was possible to achieve several expected objectives through the discussions, which were conducted in a very friendly and productive manner. Chinese authorities emphasized that future economic transactions between the two countries will become even stronger following the historic meeting. Foreign media reports state that these discussions became an important turning point in resolving the issues existing between the two countries at the diplomatic level. Foreign media further report that following the discussions, the two leaders also joined in visiting historic sites in China. Following the round of high-level official discussions between the leaders of the two countries, they are also scheduled to participate in a special state banquet this evening.
That's it for tonight's English News Telecast. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Good night.